Facebook too, just so you know.
Okay. Okay. So now I can't see you live anymore. This is really
Double click the screen. It should make it where you can see. Just double click anywhere on there.
microphones. Okay, hold on. This okay.
Did that work?
So I just see your I no, it did not.
Let me
I
see.
see where I'm seeing where I'm live, but you are not.
What it is it's just a screen sharing issue. It should be 3 dots at the bottom. If you hit those 3 dots, it should come up, and then you can just do both, where you can see me and yourself.
Okay. So I have two dots, Sky. Okay, let me try the three. Meet setting minus virtual background.
No,
Disconnect. None of that, right?
that's too deep. Yeah, that's deep. So
Okay, so it's fine, I guess.
no, you, because we got a minute. I'm waiting on the YouTube to catch up.
Oh, so this is all. Oh, so this is going to be live for real, for real.
Oh, it's live
Okay, there,
right now, but I can't see it. You can see now.
I can see you. Yeah.
Can you? Okay, wonderful. So first and foremost, thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Now, like I said when we met, a lot of people do a lot of talking, and so I want the audience to know you came in the door, putting action behind your words, and for those who know me, know how I feel about that, because at the end of the day, circulation is key. Without circulation, you have blood clots, and you can croak, right? So we need circulation. So that's it.
Unless you got a blood thinner, a clot buster on standby, then you have a potential of being saved.
You got problems. So for those who don't know, Cy Smith, your host, every Wednesday is economic day. Every Wednesday we say, can you take some time out and think about your economic position, learn a little bit more about your portfolio, what saving, investing, things of that nature, and of course, support the people who's going to keep our culture alive. That means buy black. And so every Wednesday is that day. I'm bringing up to you right now someone that you can support economically. At the end of each month, Katrina, we ask people to name 4 black people they circulated money with.
Okay.
So you'd be surprised how many people can't name 4.
I can believe that because I'm struggling right now.
But that's
Yeah.
okay. Like I said, my wife can't use my 4. My 4 is my 4. She gets her own 4 because it's a personal desire to circulate with ourselves, just like Chinatown, Greek town, Little Italy. So that's the goal. So without further ado, this here sister came to us from one of our district leaders, Hydra's, superstar Hydra's, and she said, I need to make this connection. She made the connection, and voila. So if you don't mind, Queen, tell our people who you are and what you do.
Okay. Well, my name is Katrina Turman. I am a nurse by trade.
Mhm.
For the last 18 years, I've been practicing critical care nursing. Maybe the last 7 years, I've been in interventional cardiology nursing, pretty much the cath lab. And just recently, since October, I obtained my license to start my own non-medical home care business. I am licensed through the state of Illinois, which was a daunting process in itself, but I got
Mm.
that done. And now I'm actually seeing clients, particularly veterans, seniors, and anyone that are struggling with disabilities, and having issues with activities of daily living.
Yeah,
Um, Go ahead, Scott.
yeah. So you went all the way in. So
Yeah, I did.
let's so I want people to make the connection personally. Majority of our audience is in Chicago and Gary, Indiana as well. And so you are a mother, you're a wife. Well, who are you so they can make that personal
Oh, you
connection, if
want
you don't
all
mind?
of that? Yes, I am. I didn't know you want all the personal details, so I just
But
try to
I
keep
want
it.
you to make a connection. They
Okay.
see you smile and everything. So yeah.
So besides being a nurse, I am happily married. Actually, we this was our 4th year being married. We got married right after Christmas, December.
Wow.
I
Okay.
have a son. We are a blended family. I have one son of my own, and I have 3 wonderful stepchildren. They're like mine. I don't like to use step, but as I
Right.
said, we are a blended family. And being, I don't know, that right there was just nothing but God, because sometimes, you know, you bring 2 people together, but then 2 people that already been in previous relationships, but the
Right.
family works. Our family, my parents love them, and vice versa on my end. So that right there is what makes me happy. And
Excellent. Yeah.
even when I started this venture, he was my biggest support, because I was going back and forth, like, can I do this? And he's like, you can do anything, especially when you're doing it for yourself. Why can't you do that? So
That's right.
with his support, it allowed me to kind of just take that step. But all honor goes to God, because without him planting the seed, I wouldn't have been here. So
No, that's
besides that,
awesome. Hmm.
yeah, so that right there is my everything.
Now, do you see, because that means you have stability on the home front, which is important, right? How do you go and face the world if you're destabilized at home? But when
Absolutely.
you see our community, the Black community, are you hopeful, doubtful about the future?
So I'm gonna keep it 100%, especially being a Black businesswoman right now. The one thing that I have noticed with our own people, when they see a Black person, the first thing is, I'm gonna get a discount. Let me try to negotiate, or, you know, get her to come down on her rates. And if I can say one thing to any business person out there, you know your worth, regardless if it's our people or not. Don't ever let anyone change your rate. You're going to completely regret it. And that is going to be the one customer that you're like, I did all this, and you're never going to be able to satisfy.
Satisfied. Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so I like to bring positivity in our people. I do. I try to speak positivity in our people, but sometimes I feel like that we don't trust each other, or we don't believe that we can provide that same quality as the next culture can. And I'm hoping that we can find a way to change that stigma.
Well, you know, you and I kind of talked last week, and I told you I'm the epitome of optimist, and I see it I see it a little differently, because I look at a person's intent, the
Mm-hmm.
intent, and so as long as the intent is good, then I'm okay. I can forgive the delivery and things of that nature. So I believe that our people want to feel good, they want to feel included, they want to be successful, and even when they ask for that discount, is one way of looking at it. I look at it this way, that they feel a certain level of connectivity to you, and they feel comfortable enough to ask for that. Whereas a white person, they wouldn't ask, because they like, I don't know you like that. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
downside to that is, are you going to replicate, or you're going to sow seeds elsewhere, meaning my daughter's graduation, things of that nature, because then that makes it kind of a real family situation. Since you feel comfortable enough asking me for a discount, are you going to just take the money and go and care less about my orbit or not? But I understand, as a business person, you can't have everyone asking you for discounts. But I just want to believe that they just feel that much more comfortable with our business people, and that's why they do that. What do you think about that?
My thought in regards to that is, I understand where you're coming from, and I understand that everyone have a budget, right? So I respect the tenacity to say, hey, you think you can give me this for a smaller price? But when that person says, I'm sorry, I can't bench, you can't be upset with that person.
And where's the barter in that? Back in the day, we bartered, right? So if I do nails, hey, you know, I do your
Right.
nails for you. That type. It's the love, I think, behind it. But if a person just is a taker only, that
Right.
person got a personal problem. And I'm with you on that. I'm not finna feed
Right.
you
That is
your mental
unfortunately.
disease.
Yeah, and I don't mind bargaining, because first and foremost, you know, doing personal care service, you have to have some compassion about yourself, right? And a lot of times I do get hung up on that, because I want to see my people healthy. I want to see my people out the hospital, right? So I will bend because I want them to realize that this is something that you need, just like a lottery ticket or a cigarette. You know what I'm saying? So don't put this on a side, on a back burner, because this is your health. This is your life. So
Right.
I get that. I don't mind bargaining, but sometimes you have to realize that there are other expenses too. So I can't always lower that. And
Yeah.
and the reason why I said that is just because that's the one thing that I see a lot of times, and I
Right.
don't get that from others. So
Exactly. Right. Now,
that's all.
and like I said, I go to the intent because I had people. We
Yeah.
had a corner store, and they would come and they'll want a discount, and then I see them at the Arab corner store, and they not asking them for this. I say, so
My
why take less from your people, your person
exactly.
who you know helping the kids go on trips, and then you giving go keep. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Can you hear me
Okay.
now?
Yes.
Yeah, we're not gonna keep going through that. You know what I mean? When your intention is to get low pricing from me and go give full pricing and look like the man to someone outside the culture, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. That was
So
just my point there.
yeah, no. And trust me, I get it. You when you look at some of the other videos, black business people would say what you just said. I get that all
Okay.
the time about the hookup, as we call it. So you say you want to be optimistic. Is that what where you ended up at?
Yes, yes. I definitely want to be optimistic about our people in general. I honestly believe that they want to work with us, that they want to provide the business, but I feel like sometimes they just feel like maybe word of mouth that we're not providing our services is not as good as the other cultures service. So it's just a lot of stigmas. And I think that once we start coming together more and realizing that, hey, let's support each other, let's build, because that's the one thing that we have not been able to do as a people.
Yep. And that's why I stress that circulation. Don't take from me, because that's an extraction. We want to circulate so that way everyone can touch this. So don't give less of it. Let's get more of it so more people can
Exactly.
touch this circulation. So
But
so
I
you and
have a question for you. I'm sorry to cut you
yes,
out.
ma'am.
But how do you get around the people that feels like we're trying to get over? Like, your service isn't all that. You're trying to beat me out. Like, what happens
Yeah.
if I can't get a return on my investment? Who can
Oh
I
yeah.
go to? How do I
Oh
know
yeah.
you're not from down the street? How do you get
Exactly.
past that?
Oh yeah, nah, we and I thank you for that question. I've encountered that my whole time in business, and this is what I always go back to, that heart, that intention of the person. So I've had people talk about how they struggling, but they got $12 pack of cigarettes. You know what I mean? So what's your definition of struggle? So, but for me, I think the way I deal with it is because I'm a social bug, I get to know if that person got children, I'm working with their children, so I loop that back around like, if you get a discount here, you're taking away from what we're doing with your children being mentored and tutored, going out of town. But I don't expect business people to be that social bug. That's just who I am. So
Right.
I would just say, like you say, you stand your ground, because at the end of the day, we do have to uh, reinforce to Black people the reason our prices have to be a little bit higher. Because at the end of the day, we are the most isolated people, and that isolation causes us to have to pay more to onboard products and services. We have to pay
Exactly.
more with interest rates, you name
Yes.
it. So that's a Wednesday conversation, which is economic day, to talk about what are the barriers for Black entrepreneurs and Black business people, so that they can kind of be a little bit more sensitive to that. But like you said, you know your worth, uh, and you just stand your ground on that, and that's where the spiritual component come in. That God blessed you with this vision, the execution of it. If it's called to be, it's gonna be. And those people who's supposed to purchase, they go purchase.
Absolutely.
Those people, who not, wish them well. So
Exactly.
that's how I see that. So let's help me understand your industry before we go into details about what you do. Like, they say Black people are the most unhealthiest in America. Is that true, false?
I would say that that's false. Do we have some of the common comorbidities that people are familiar with, such as diabetes and hypertension, similar things like that? Yes. And a lot of it can be related to our heredity. It could be hereditary. There's Black people that don't eat salt and, exercise every day, but yet they're just prone to have hypertension. How do you explain that? Well, it could just be generational, right? We can't change or reverse that. But there's other cultures that also have hypertension. I'm not going to say we're the unhealthiest. I think that because of education that it took us a while to get on board.
So Katrina, why so many dialysis centers in Black neighborhoods? I don't that validated that perspective. Like, are they in white neighborhoods?
They are in white neighborhoods, but let me tell you, because Black people are one to, I don't know the actual number, but we are on the higher spectrum of hypertension. Hypertension leads to end-stage renal disease, and end-stage renal disease leads to dialysis. And because we're on the top of those spectrums, that's why you see so many dialysis facilities in our neighborhood opposed to other people. So because we already prone, because genetically, to hypertension, if we continue to not treat your hypertension, then what happens is now you're killing your kidneys. So a lot of us say, hey, I feel okay, I don't need to take that medicine, or I'm gonna continue to have that drink. They don't realize that alcohol also affects our kidneys. It affects our blood pressure. So you have to start with the management of your blood pressure to prevent kidney failure.
So
And other things.
Mississippi is the blackest state in the union. 37%, almost 40% Black. It's also the most obese state in the union. Obesity. So you get why when they say we the. So what do you? Are we obese? Are we? What's your thoughts on that?
So you have to realize that the standards are not made from African American people, right? This is a standard,
Thank
right?
you.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot of standards, and I don't, I'm not gonna go too much in details, but even when they talk about our kidney function, there is a Caucasian number and there's a African American number for the borderline end stage renal disease. Why is that? If you're in kidney failure, you're in kidney failure. It doesn't matter if you're Black or white, but there are different standards for these protocols based off what you look like. So a lot of times I'll just say our grandparents, we didn't know that, having that fried chicken with that, what do they call it? Not the vegetable oil or the corn oil, every day was killing us. We didn't realize that, right? Because we did what we saw our parents do. And until someone, go to school or read a couple of articles, they're like, oh, this is what's causing the issues here. So.
Okay. Well, no, I appreciate. So should everyone have what you provide? Like now let's go into what it is that you do. So we know your 9 to 5 or 12-hour day, what you do. What do you do in terms of your own business?
So there's 3 spectrums to home services, right? And everyone may be familiar with the larger one, which is a home care agency that provides a nurse, physical therapy, physical therapy. They even have personal care assistants, right? So they provide all the spectrums. Then you have your home care for hospice, for people that are dying, or palliative care. That's a different entity. And then you have now what we have non-medical home care. And the difference between what I do and the other 3 is that I am not licensed to provide any skilled services. So anything that requires IVs, catheters or dressings, those are considered or classified as skilled.
But you can do that when you can do that when you're at the hospital. You can't do that in your private.
All the time, right? And but that's the difference. The startup, the requirement, the starter for that skilled component of a home agency is a little bit more expensive, right? And it's more umbrellas to that. So I decided to go with people feel like, I'll be okay, but they end up back in the hospital because they end up relapsing. So it's the simple things such as, hey, I just had spinal surgery. I may not be able to bend and get a pot or raise my arms up to wash my armpits. So I provide personal care assistance. So for people who have been in a hospital for a lengthier time for a long period of time, and they're weak, right? So the things that they normally do day to day now becomes a little bit more challenging. And what happens is they go home, they overexert, and they end up back in the hospital. So
Wow.
I've this gap, being in a hospital for 18 years, that people with acute and chronic illnesses coming back for things that are treatable, that's very small, but because they're left untreated, becomes more severe, right? So it's increased.
So is that mainly with people who don't have a spouse, who are like
Or
home
maybe
alone?
don't, right, or don't have a family, or not necessarily don't have a family, the family lives someplace else, right? So pretty much it's for seniors, or maybe a young adult who don't want to be a burden to their family members and still want to be independent at home, and don't want to be in someone else's home or facility, right? They choose to stay at home but may just need a little assistance with those day-to-day activities. Do that make sense?
No. And that's clear. And that's what I was saying. So the non-medical, and then how, not having that person can cause them to re-injure themselves. That makes
Exactly.
perfect sense.
Exactly.
So how big is this industry, this non-medical industry?
It's it's a billion dollar business, depending, especially in California, your location, how well you work it. I mean, it's a huge industry because seniors are living longer. If you guys are not aware of that, I believe like in 2023, the baby boomers are going to be like over 1 million that's still living, right? And a lot of them are doing well. And now it's like the hospitals and the long-term care facilities are somewhat over, crowded with COVID. You don't want to put your loved one there. So what is the cheapest and best for an elder or someone that's sick is to be at home. So it's less expensive to have someone stay at home than to put them in a
Well,
facility.
but we go talk about the funding part, but let me go
Okay.
back to, so it's trending up. This industry
It's
is
trending
trending
up.
up.
It's definitely,
And
it is pretty new, but it's been around for a while.
yeah, can robots take your place?
I don't believe so, but I mean, with technology, you never know. You can train a robot. They can't provide compassion. They can't. You can probably engage, but they can't connect with a person like another human being can. So I will say no.
Right. That's what I was thinking from my ignorant perspective, is that it's that's mainly a compassionate, if you helping someone personally like that, you know,
And
yeah.
social
So we're
isolation is real when it comes to our seniors too. Sometimes we go on with our life and forget about our elders, right? And they get depressed, and they're not. You can't forget them because that's how you became who you are. So we want to keep them engaged. We want to keep them healthy and living long as we can without them being in the hospital and worrying about, are they going to be okay today?
now, so because every Friday is Love Senior Citizens Day to us, just like Wednesday is Economic Day. So just,
Yes,
we 52 Fridays a year, we loving on our
our
elders.
seniors. I love it.
So, but going back to the industry, so is it Black dominated? Is it a racial domination to it, or what's the
I
outlook?
So the funny thing is that I don't have the statistics as far as, how many African Americans versus Caucasians. I actually think it's a very diverse group from what I've seen thus far. Um, I
So
am
so if you're saying that, Katrina, that means that you're not meeting roadblocks, because that's what I was gonna say. If you know how like the unions can provide roadblocks to certain groups.
When you say, I'm meeting roadblocks, meaning that we're in the midst of a pandemic. So it's kind of difficult for me to get in there and as I once was able to walk into a hospital and say, hey, is your social worker available for a quick meet and greet? So, but because I have what we call a niche, which is my VA program, I'm not meeting those type of roadblocks. I'm also part of an organization, and in that organization, there's a multitude of cultures that's doing it. So I don't have the actual statistics of, who's running it, but I probably would say that it's more of the other race than us from I'm part of, from the networking that I have done.
And so Does it pay well?
So it does, but I'm a beginner, right? And the potential is absolutely real. Can I leave my day job if market right? Absolutely, I can.
But
Absolutely.
but is it labor intensive where only you, or could you onboard an 18-year-old to help you?
Oh, is that what you're getting at? So the pay for caregivers absolutely can be better. My whole, I guess, project too, this is a project, is I pay probably on the higher scale. I pay from the national norm, what a normal caregiver would pay doing home care is $14 an hour. I don't like that number at all because I have worked that field. It's very, to me, physical. It's emotional. You're actually you're taking someone, you're coming into someone else's home and providing personal care. It's very, it can be somewhat exhausting too. Every day, this one person. So for me, I will not pay my caregivers $14. I don't,
Now,
because I feel
so
like that's a disgrace.
so I'm ignorant because I thought up until just now that this was something you were doing physically yourself.
I
So you're
have.
going to be a management of a team of people.
Yes, I can't do this all by
Oh,
myself. I cannot. But have I? So, and I feel like that any good owner should be able to get in dirty and see exactly what it's like, and of all aspects of your business. So, no, I have a team of caregivers underneath me, and when they are not able to, to perform a shift, then I will fill in that shift.
wait a minute. So you rolling already then? I thought you made it sound like you was just getting started. So you have.
I have caregivers. I'm not rolling. My door's been open since October, but I'm out here. I have clients and I have caregivers. Absolutely. I'm not
So,
playing.
but those are they yours exclusively, or they dibble? They moonlight elsewhere.
So let me tell you about this business. So they are mine exclusively, but there is no, how can I say it? They are employees of Benevolence Home Services, but because the clients come and go, they have a right, they can move around, they can move around and work with other agencies. Now, the tricky part is when a client say, hey, I like this caregiver and I want to hire this caregiver independently. No, 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 no. That they cannot do. So they can't work for a client that I have assigned them.
I mean, you don't want to take a parachute payment, like you
So
go
so yeah, that you're right. That parachute payment will be $5,000 from them for my caregiver because I have
whatever
to
it costs. But yeah,
pay.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
okay,
So yeah, absolutely. I can do that. If you can have her for or him for a certain dollar amount.
right,
But
right. No,
those
no,
are
no. That's business. That makes sense.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
so it is lucrative enough where you have a team. That's something
Oh,
I didn't know.
absolutely. It's very it's very lucrative.
So
The
where does the funding come from?
So the funding comes from long-term care insurance. People do reverse mortgages, private pay, but most of my clients come from veterans.
Mhm.
Um, the VA or wartime veterans have a benefit called Aid in Attendance. And through this benefit, they get $2,200 if they meet eligibility requirements to pay for home care, which is a game changer for a lot of African American people, and anyone in low income status that need this care but don't know how to pay for it. And we have a lot of veterans that don't even know that the benefit exists.
Well, of course. I mean, we as an isolated people, it's a lot we we
I
don't
know.
know because we
Yeah.
isolated. So yeah, of course. And so, what is your onboarding strategy? This is one platform. We're gonna our leaders in our zip code is gonna be able to let people know about you. But what's your plan?
Are you saying onboarding for my caregiver or you're saying onboarding for veterans?
Benevolent, your company.
So I'm just a little confused about that question though. When you say
Mhm.
onboarding for benevolence as a
Mhm.
worker or as
Your
a
company. I didn't have a name. So if someone right now said, I like her, I want to procure her services, what's the process?
so the process to call me, you can call me at 708 304-0296, or you can Google me. The name of the business is Benevolence Home Services. You can actually put your contact information on my website, which is www.benevolencehomeservices.com. It's open. I'm available 24 hours. Someone
But
always
what happens next? Like once they
So if someone calls me and this is the intake process, I ask them, hey, Mr. Jones, how can I help you today? And they will say, hey, I'm looking for care for my mother or my sister. At that point, I ask, can you tell me a little bit about the person you're seeking care for? We go into details, and then I will try to set up an in-home assessment, because sometimes people can tell you things over the phone and they may be feeling some kind of way, or they're just frustrated because it's new. They're overwhelmed. I'm not going to say frustrated, but they're overwhelmed. So I always send a nurse out or senior case management to do a manager to do an in-home assessment. And the reason why I do that is because that nurse or the senior case manager is able to decipher if non-medical home care is the ideal option for their client, because that client may need more. They may need that skilled component, or they may need an assisted living facility, but everyone can't make that assessment unless you have that knowledge base behind you.
Do you charge for that?
No, sir. There's no fee for that.
So, okay, and they need your services. Where does the funding? Well, how does that conversation go?
So then if they need my services, I will provide a proposal. I do require a minimum of 4-hour shifts of 16 hours a week. So a 4-hour shift, minimum 16 hours a week. We will go over pricing. We'll go over budgeting. I'll ask them, if they're a veteran. And if so, then that process is a little different than what it will be for my private pay.
So they don't go and get pre-approved first and then come to you. You will walk them through that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And while they're in the process, for me, it takes about no more than 5 months. The longest I have actually seen a veteran for approval through my program is 3 months. If they go to the VSO office, it'll probably take several years. But the reason why I'm able to get the veterans approved so quickly is because I have partnered with this company called Care Plan Institute. They are credentialed with the VA, so they are actually working for the veteran. So they do not charge because they have already serviced our country. So this is a free benefit. As we're going through the process, if they meet the eligibility requirements, Care Plan Institute would give them a phone call, gather all their information. If everything looks good, they will say, Katrina, you're good to go. Care Plan Institute will cover it. And once the final approval comes back, the check goes into the client's bank account. They will pay me back. It's pretty much like a reimbursement process,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Right. So what if they don't? What if they're not a veteran?
Then they don't owe me anything.
Themselves?
So if we go through the process and say, for instance, 3 months later, it comes back and they say, hey, you wasn't approved. They don't owe me or Care Plan Institute anything. They can at that point say, we can pay for this out of pocket, or they cannot. And that'll be it.
So you don't partner with banks that can help them, or you don't financing wise?
So the reason why I don't partner with banks, because there's always an interest. And this is a no interest, no fee, no out of pocket for my veterans. But for other clients, I have not considered that. I have not. That's not something that I did consider. I always try to find something that will be free and easy for the client.
Well, you mentioned some of them would do reverse mortgages, so that's dealing with the bank. So
that's true. But that's for that client to, how can I say it, make that decision to put their health care over, other things. Can I go to a bank and say, hey, I don't know that process. I have not actually looked at that process. That definitely could be an idea for me to obtain extra ways to provide, to pay for.
Well, it's just another option that they will have. You got the for-profit option, the non, the interest-free option. So yeah, excellent. So what should people do? They hearing, what you're doing. They got an elderly person that they think is qualified. They should call you, and it's going to be free to reach out to you.
Absolutely. They call me. If they don't want to call me, you can go to my website. You can do it. Everything right there is all secure. I'll get your information and I'll call you. I'll call you. And just to, have a discussion, or, if you're even not sure if you want to start this process, what you're thinking about this process, we can have that conversation.
So where you at 5 years from now? That's 2026.
I plan not to work my day job. That is my goal every day. I feel like I'm doing what God has. This is my talent. I'm a caregiver, and I feel like this is my purpose. So I'm going to continue to push through. I'm going to continue to create jobs for everyone, just not for our people, but for everyone. And I'm going to show people that this is a lucrative business and you will feel fulfilled. And I'm going to make caregivers feel rewarded in what they're doing. I want to change the pay scale. Because this is as much needed as you going to the hospital and you needing surgery. So let's not exclude home care in any aspect.
What advice would you give a young person that love caring for people and they may potentially grow up in this world?
Let me tell you, her name is Kiana Lottie. I don't know if she's listening. This young lady is 20 years old. She came to me and she said that I really wanted to be a nurse. I dropped out because I didn't think I can do it. I actually was very apprehensive. Uh-oh. Are you still there? I'm so sorry.
I can hear you. I just couldn't see you.
Yeah. I was very apprehensive about giving her this client, because this client was it wasn't just an easy client. He was dying. He had feeding too. But when I tell you, I was able to see the compassion that she had. She wasn't afraid. Don't stop. Don't let your fear prevent you from doing what God may have in store for you. You're going to be afraid. I mean, we all afraid to do new things, but you're going to be so proud of yourself once you get to that finish line. I promise you.
Well, anything that I missed?
Oh my God. First off, you caught me off guard because I thought this was just going to be a conversation between me and you. And absolutely not. I'm excited to be a part of this team, and to be able to give back and just to network. And I'm excited to grow and just see what this is going to come to.
Yeah.
I really am.
The beauty this week is the National Nurses Convention / Jubilee for us. It's our first one. We go do it via Zoom, so our people will be able to see you again in 4 days, three days. So I thank you for coming in, sowing financial seeds. You're going to be one of the 35 people to help us propel this thing forward. And I envision these conventions, literally 51 weeks of them, being something that's going to galvanize our communities all over this nation. And the nurses is coming up this week.
Yes, I am looking forward to it. And once again, thank you for having me.
Excellent. One more time, the contact information so our viewers can reach out to you.
Yes, it's Benevolence Home Services. My website is www.benevolencehomeservices.com. And the phone number is 708-304-0296. Come on, guys, start calling me.
Can someone that want to work for you call you too?
Absolutely. If you go to my website, they can put in their information. It comes to me just like that. Absolutely.
Good. Well, thank you. I see you in 72 hours.
I'll see you. Bye, Scott.